All right, here we are. You can clearly see Mama and Papa Red Tiger Abutilon right here. These two are responsible for all the babies that everyone has out there they've gotten from me. And as you can see, they're huge. So I got some major trimming to do. Yours are probably a little smaller, but these do grow fast. So they might be this size. So I'm just gonna get to it. And when I'm looking at this plant, you can see how big it is. It's huge. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is make it a reasonable height. So for me, it's generally at about 4 feet. And that's where I'm just going to take my pruners. You have a wood saw. They're really big. And I'm just going to go at about 4 feet and hack off everything at the top. We're going to start there. Generally, when you're cutting and you're deciding where to make your cuts, I do it right above a branch, and that way you don't have a long dead stick sticking up above. So I'll cut it right down to another leaf or a branch, and that way you won't have a dead stem. You'll have a new branch, and that's where the new leaf joints will be set out. So I got the two major ones done. Now we have these tall, skinny ones that are this year's growth. Okay, so now you can see, now it's already a little bit more manageable by getting that top part off. Now it's the width. Look how wide these things are. So again, I'm going to trim all these wide ones back, just like I did with the lantana, so that it's much smaller and it doesn't stick out as far. Now, how far back do you trim? Where do you trim? Let me bring you in and show you. Here you can see I have a really long branch sticking way too far out. So where do I cut that? Well, if we look close, we can see that every leaf joint I keep talking about is actually a new growth coming out. So when you cut it, you're going to want to go back to a leaf joint. And I'm actually going to go way back here all the way. There's the main stem. There I have a little flower right there. So that's where I'm going to make my cut. Just like that. So now you can see that's there. I'm right there at my fingertip. You can see him right there. And then he'll be the one that takes over. Well, here we have a few more. Now this only has leaves up top, you can see, and right down here it's very bare. It's okay, because this will revert to the shrub form, and I'm just going to take that one all the way back to where it V's off from another branch. And do the same thing with this one. Here you can see one. Again, a lot of growth up here, not much back here. You don't really care. So I am going to take this one, and I'm going to cut him all the way back to this as well. Now that we have the general principle down, I'm just going to go around and trim this all back. I'll usually use the pot as a circumference. So here I got about a 16-inch pot. I'm going to go straight up with that. Then I'm really only going to want the branches to stick out another 6 inches or so past that. All right, this looks really good right now, but I let this one get out of control, so I'm still going to do some more. You can see this whole arm right here. Big old stick coming off. I needed that this year for a lot of the cuttings, and I got them, but I just don't like the double arm. I want kind of just one trunk going all the way up. So this one's going to come off. It's too big for clippers, so we're using our saw. Now, I wanted to do that at the end. If you're going to do something like that, I doubt you would have one that has a stem that thick already. These are several years old. But if you did, you would do that first, and that way you don't have to cut some branches that you're already just going to remove the whole stem anyway. But now this looks a lot better, how I kind of envision this is going to be. If there's any weeds, you want to get them out, any new growths. They are shrubs, so here you can see that they're just trying to reshoot from the base. Then I'm also looking at it, and I know that it might be still a little taller next year, so as these get taller, I like to take off some more of these lower branches. Give me that real topiary look. This one, you can see, this looks real dinky, very thin. We're going to get rid of that one. And now we can really see it coming together. As I move this around, I can really tell that this branch is still a lot more aggressive than the other, so I'm going to cut them back, try and even it out a little bit. Any yellowing leaves, completely normal this time of year. It's been getting cold at night. The plant's going through some issues. You can pick them off now. You'll probably still continue to get some yellow leaves when you move this inside as it transitions, but a few here and there is okay. It's completely normal. It's part of the wintering phase. And lastly, we want to make sure there's no sticks or branches that are going across and through the whole plant and out the other side, or any that are rubbing or have kind of wrapped around each other, because that will just be an issue. So you want to clear that up. I'll bring you in and show you this new growth one. Here you can kind of see a new growth that's kind of shot straight up, and it really doesn't belong. It doesn't fit with all the other ones that are shooting out. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now I have a nice looking topiary that has the tallness, it has the side branches going out, and to boot, it is a lot smaller than what it started off as. Here you can see how this branch right here kind of just shot down, probably hit something. So I don't like the way that's going to grow, so I'll take that and I'll snip that off. And there we go. So let's get the second one underway. And here we have the second half of the parenthood. And as you can see, just as big, huge. Of course, I decided to do it on a windy day, so I'm gonna have to stand here and hold this. But again, to make it less top heavy, the first thing I'm gonna do is go cut it all off at about 4 feet. This one, you can see I do have 2 stems, and I actually like this one. So I'm gonna keep this as 2, but this third stem got out of control. So this one I do want to get rid of. Now that I got rid of that one, I can go along. I'm just going to cut these all back 6 inches width outside the pot, right above a leaf joint or a growth point if you can. I wanted to bring you in for a little close-ups. Here you can see I snipped the one. See this side shoot? So this side branch kind of shot way over this way. And I don't want that. So I'm just going to clip him off. These guys have crossed. This is exactly what I was talking about right here. Let me show you. So you can see right here, I have 2 branches that have crossed. And this wind's actually showing you. See how the wind rubs them back and forth? That can cause damage over the long term. So we don't ever really want them crossing. This one I'm going to cut way back. And then this one, you can see here I have a nice side shoot. So I'll cut this one all the way back to right here. Now that side shoot will take over. And I wanted to show you that even on this long stem, I want to cut it down here. And you can see there's no leaves, there's no growth points, it's just wood. That's okay. It will reshoot, it will send out new shoots. So I'm just going to cut it right there. So don't always think that you need to do it where there's a growth point. Because even here, where there's no growth point, it'll still work. Right here, you can see these are the old flower stems. That will reshoot out new shoots next year. You can see this guy's really thin. He's kind of going down and low. Sometimes the shoots will dictate where I make my cuts. This stem, you can see how long it's sticking out. It does actually have 2 really nice ones, almost opposite each other. So I'm going to make the cut right above the top one. Now I have 2 new babies ready to take over. I think we're done. When you get these 2 side by side, you can see how much of a haircut these just took. We'll see if I can put up a picture of what they looked like before I got started. But now you get it. These are way more manageable to bring into your house. Still a very cool plant for your home. Not necessarily won't flower too much in the winter, especially up here in the north, but we'll keep all of its green leaves and foliage. It makes a nice little tree for a home for the winter. It grows so fast. So even though it looks like I took off a lot, don't worry. Next year, they'll be even bigger than what I just showed you before I trimmed it. It's an awesome shrub. I love it. One of my favorite plants. I'm so excited to just be able to sell these to people. So if you have one, hopefully this helped you out. So we did lantana already. We just touched on red tiger Abutilon. Next up will be our hibiscus topiaries or bushes, tropical ones. You got to bring them for the house. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. See you around.